Good morning, good morning. And welcome to the day. Alright, I need to do one last change because yesterday I made an error. And as a result, power toy shut off. And I lost my ability to keep the chat directly on top of my interface, which is marginally important. If that is, anyone joins the chat, I want to be able to see you. Perfect, docked, clear, we're good. Now you should be seeing something of a treat. Because if you haven't noticed, I grew frustrated yesterday with not only the sound quality which you were each receiving, but I also grew frustrated with the lack of information that was on the screen. So I have spent the morning completely reworking both the stream interface and the Unity UI so that you would get the same information, but you'd also be able to see the entire development screen, because there's quite a bit of information that you see as I work, and without that information, it's not appealing. You don't get to see all of the things that are going on. And I've covered up only a slight portion of the file organization window with myself, because truth be told, you don't need to know the name of every script in order to follow what's going on, but it sure would be nice if you could see everything that's happening in the interface as I'm dragging and dropping and previewing and what have you. I'm eating soup. My children are still asleep because it is the first weekend of summer, so I'm letting them sleep as long as they like. Alright, as you know, we finished yesterday with the start of creating the journal system. Now we are truly in unexplored territory, so the next thing that I need to do is I need to look for the, oh, that should be in icons. GUI, keys and buttons. There we are. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what this will do. Nothing, apparently. One of the challenges is when I spend thousands of hours creating something, I tend to get used to the way things are laid out. Now the question becomes, where is my... What in the name of Bon Jovi is that called? Package manager, and we'll stretch this out a bit, and we're looking for... Oops. That's flat calendar, collaborative assistant. That can't be what it is it? I'm going to have to go back to the asset store. And we're going to have to look at our tools. They should be doing the trick. You shouldn't see any of the other apps outside of Unity while I'm working. It should be a nice arrangement. Also, I purchased a microphone, a lapel microphone specifically for this endeavor, which is between the wireless headphone and the wireless microphone, allows me to do things like spin around and get up and move without tripping cords, and hopefully the sound quality is good. I've ordered a nicer model to be here later today, but I physically possessed this one, so. Alright, I have a lesser set, which is in a Wesley Crusher styled 1990s case, which is hideous, but allows me to stream from the iPhone. It appears that I managed to apply to Irium on the final day of the old form, and now have to reapply, so I will find the time to do that. Alright, are you collaborative assistant, or are you calendar? I don't know what this is, but I would sure like to investigate it. I think, indeed, it appears that at some point I purchased a project management tool that I never used. I am incredibly curious. It's called Flat Calendar. That's the name of the user tool that I will be using from which to make the journal. Because when I originally looked for writing tools, it was an abysmal experience to find writing tools for inside of Unity, and it came to my attention that I would need to write something. And I began that process, and then realized that a calendar would do. If I start with the date and time, I can extend to those features as we move forward. So, that's what happened. When I installed it, it must have thrown a bug. That makes more sense. I'm waiting for the UI to reload. The only screen you don't see now are elements that I drag into short-term frames, or elements that I wonder if I could make, since you can see the buttons, right? Can you? Let's see. You can see the bars. So the bar interface I built myself. So I wonder if I couldn't make my folder drag and drop appear inside of the bar interface instead. Very interesting. Very curious. Alright, so we're using two plugins for this. One is called AnyUI, which has been around for years. The other is Flat Calendar, which I have not used. Do all of those clear? They do. Alright, so we're going to grab what I think is all I need. Let's look at our 2D and see. Oops. Oh dear. I am just curious, so let's see what we get. So yes, the sky is not the sky, but the sky is the sky. I have it set up so there's a dual layer sky, so that when you're looking up, you get a much higher degree of detail in the sky dome, but you still get to see the sun through it. Give this a moment to load. Our antiquated kitty is asleep in the far room, which is a nice treat. This appears to be the new sweet spot between screaming for meals. Sounds to me as if either my lady wife or the children have risen. I hear the sound of a clicking door, which is either my wife or my eldest, because my youngest only knows to slam doors. Pause our music since we're in game. Gosh, I love the way this looks. What was I doing? Nothing. I was looking to see if the user interface would show, and it does not. I wonder if it has to be called. I see an image, I see flat calendar, I see English, I see week start, but what I do see a canvas renderer, so there is a canvas, and yet that canvas is not showing. I may have to investigate the demo that comes with this. I am a notorious stealer of content. Thanks to the Stream Deck, I'm able to pause and hold music, which is a treat. So let me delete this for the moment, save our scene, and then let's go into their scene and see what it takes to get this set up. And then we'll go from there. Who could possibly be calling me on a Monday when I have off? It's a very rare treat for me to have a Monday off. It is the 26th. Who called? Who called? I don't recognize the number or the city. There we are. There we are. There we are. I forgot I was in a playlist that has upbeat music. It startled me. Alright, so scenes, example demo, calendar 2. Here we are. All that's in this scene is a canvas. Oh, and of course an event system as well. We will copy both of these, and we will move back into our main scene, which is here. The one thing you'll notice as we work is that my particular version of Unity is a monster. It's not normal, the way that I have it set up. I am going to pull our event system all the way up to the top, however. This may very well break. What do we do? But we'll see. Give a quick save. Now you can see our canvas is showing in our 2D module, which means it should be up when we first and initially create this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get it stylized, colored, broken up, and placed on the book using any UI, and then see what we achieve. This is very new. Now I will need to figure out a way to split the two sides of the user interface. So let's get back out of 2D. Let's go back to our book. Zoom, zoom. Like so. Go into play mode. And it should just be sitting on top of the user interface. So we'll wait and see. Quite exciting though. Let's see while we wait for that. I have that. I have the original Everend. I have my Nightingale Redux soundtrack that I wrote. Let's listen to some of my music, shall we? I wish I could listen to 𝗗𝗄𝒃𝗃 without getting demonetized. Alas. Oh, I have my VanillaWare soundtrack. Let's listen to VanillaWare instead. Absolutely. I may very well use this for the game. I really love this soundtrack. It took me forever to build it. Alright, so does our... Oh. Silly. I need to build a new... This time I'm going to do a system differently from what I've done. So we're going to go up to Controls. And I'm going to create a brand new, and I know you can't see the selection menu, you can only see what I have selected. But I'm going to go to Visual Scripting, and I'm going to go Trigger, and I'm going to go on key, colon, escape. And then I'm going to mark this as a signal. And I believe I have the superpower to change this, to change the icon. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to indicate using a consistent icon for myself when something is signaling. I very much like the light bulb. And we'll change the background to gold whenever something is a signal. Perfect. Now we are going to say input on input button. And then keyboard press, and then escape is always somewhere strange in this list. Where are you? There you are. Escape minimum distance is not necessary, none. Add, and then we're going to signal, emit signal. Escape pressed. All right. One thing I do need to do is I need to open up Legend Keeper, which you all have access to and should always be open when I'm working. Go into the thought space, and I need to create I need to rename this. Thought space is, keep that the way it is. Let's create a new but sealed page from the public. And we're going to go create, and we're going to create the page, and we're going to call this signals. And we're going to hide it so that the general public cannot see it. Turn it into a page. Show banner. And let's use one we already have for the sake of using one we already have. If we go to Sea of Steam, streaming resources, not logo work, UI stream, PNGs, we can, I believe they're at the very top. Let's use I need to get a banner pack made. Perfect. Let's use this one. Perfect. Perfect. And we need a table, and it should just be 2 deep. No need for a 3rd column. Signal and summary. So what I'm doing is, inside of the source of truth, I am adding a signal list, which is header 2. And then column. And then we need to do bold, and I need to change the font type on this. How do I guess in the tables it might not let me. Let's go with, for both of these, let's make our, whoops. Why am I not? There we are. I had hoped that I would be able to color these. That's all right. Can worry about the formatting later. Signals to the game that escape has been pressed should signal all menus which use this. All right. One of the mistakes that I made during the development of the last game, which is Crayon Legend on Steam, if you haven't had a chance to play it yet. One of the mistakes that I made was that I did not include a searchable alphabetized library of all of the signals that I created, because the best thing that I discovered was that when you are building, if you send out signals instead of direct calls, then anything that uses that runs off of that code. So now I can create here at the folder object level for the journal, I can now create a trigger. That was incorrect. Trigger on signal. And there we are. So now, whatever UI commands I do can be parent and child instead. So, for this simple one, I need to create an else container, and our condition, if cursor shown. All right, and then our condition is cursor. That's something I want to fix momentarily. Let's go into edit and then project settings, which I don't know if you're going to see. Can you see this? You cannot. You can only see the windows that I've explicitly given you control over, nothing that floats. I need to change our cursor. What is a good cursor for this project at this state in its evolutions? I do so love the cartoony ones, but, well, why not? Why not? Let's use the cartoony ones. I'm going to go with this one for the moment. Now what I do know is that after I've chosen the cursor, I need to go to the physical. Oh, I have an angry awake animal. I need to change this sprite to a cursor. Otherwise, it will not work as one. And when I attempt to export the project, it will yell at me. I'm odd that she waited until I started to speak to come and demand attention and food. I didn't see her. She usually steps right up, and I don't see her. Oh well. All right. So back to our script. Cursor. If cursor shown, condition. I am having the most difficult time. Interesting. It's not available. I think it's an on start. All right. Well, if I'm going to check the repository of scripts momentarily and see if in the Game Creator Hub there is a cursor script in our conditions. Awareness stage with instructions is awareness stage with instructions. It is not. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our on start hide mouse script. We're going into our, I need to create a new variable here, and we're going to call it create, and we're going to go into Game Creator, and then where are our variables? Ah, right there. And then a name variable. I'm going to call this 02 system variables. And we're going to add a brand new set of variables, which are things that are happening in the game that need to be tracked, which will usually just be states. So if I go into our variable here and I go remove this, let's call this cursor. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Hello. Do you want lappy time? Hello, sweet girl. Would you like to spend some time on my lap? We're going to call this cursor visible, and we're going to turn this into a bool. And we're going to set it to on by default, because the system is on by default. And now, when we go into our on start hide mouse, we will add a brand new add instruction. I'll admit, I thought it was, toggle bool. There it is, set bool. Set bool, and then you just changed your mind already, huh? You just want food. That's all you want. You're stuck. Hold on. There you are. You were stuck. Poor old thing. All she wants is food. She is cross that I am far too wiggly for her liking. So as I was saying, I customize so much of the user interface that false. That my version of Unity is drastically different than anyone else's. I am going to move the folder object script to the bottom for the purpose of showing that there is a trigger here. Because I promise you, without a doubt, I will lose it. My goodness, so many plugins, add so many tags to the system. We will be leveraging the tag system in a very advanced mode. All right, so now condition. Now we can base our condition on a compare bool, and we'll do global variable, and we'll do system variable, and we're just going to start with on. If cursor value equals true, which it is, there we are. And then if true, then we will cursor visibility off. Cursor visibility. Whoopsies. I meant cursor lock. Cursor lock. Cursor locked. If false, however, we will do cursor visibility and let's go with is on, and then of course cursor lock. We're going to do confined on this one. However, we also need to set our bool. So if we're hiding, then we hide. If we're showing, then we show. If false, so if it's already off, so if the cursor is on is true, then it shuts the cursor off. If the cursor is on is false, the last thing I want to do is a sound, UI sound, play UI sound, and then pop. My goodness, I don't think I was expecting that many. Oh, bubble, I see. Let's see if we have some window sounds already. Not glass, not metal, not hit. Music box, window 1. Here we are. I don't know if this is going to be a literal window. I think it's a literal. Oh, I like that. But that is a literal window. Metal slide, sliding, small knock. Okay. Title screen, shake, rumble. Close. Copy and then paste, and then I would like to do the enable sound. There we are. So now we have, if you look at the design, we've created a variable which is set when the system first starts, loads and locks the mouse. When we hit escape, it's set to send a signal that says, "Hi, escape has been pressed." Then it checks. The condition is the variable already on? If the answer is no, it should enable the mouse. If it's not. Now, one of the things that I do that is a constant mistake is that I will reverse my binaries, my zeros and my ones, what is on versus what is off. I'm constantly, and I do mean constantly, creating and scripting these backwards. Now what you're looking at, I'm eating more soup. What you're looking at on the screen is the game creator interface. Don't get me wrong, I have colored and rewired and added and built new UI elements to be able to see whatever I want and whatever color I want, whenever I want. However, the drag and drop no code interface that you're seeing is entirely driven by Game Creator. And this is Game Creator 2, which is finally done. Martin has been building it for 5 years, I believe, now? Yes. I came in just prior to the end of Game Creator 1 being done, and my first 4 Unity game creations were all done in Game Creator 1, which did not go well. Interesting. Okay, so we're in. Now if I hit escape, I did indeed free up the mouse, and we heard the sound. If I hit escape again, the mouse is now, you're watching a bit of a delay in the cursor, and the reason for that is that the interface in Unity is not a standalone interface. That's not the way it works. So, oh, you know what I didn't do? Oh, would you, I need to be keeping a list as I go. Normally I would have my e-ink pad down here. One of the things we did not do is we did not lock the character in place. So all we were testing was, does the user interface work? Can we click it? If I click a new one, all right, so see how it created the new event here? We're going to need to separate that interface into the right side of the book when we bind it. I want them in two separate interfaces. So let's create the new one, and then I am incredibly sorry about the ninja spinning. Canvas, flat, calendar, grid, grid. So what I need to know is that if I build a second interface, does it keep the same? So calendar, event, add event visualizer is the code. There it is. I found you. So add event visualizer, because this is what we want to do. We want to see if the flat calendar is directly associated with, so we're going to call this canvas calendar, and then we're going to copy just the canvas, and we're going to paste, and we're going to drop it here and here, drag this here, call this canvas entry, because they're going to go on two sides of the book when the book opens. Delete this, and then we're going to do something that I genuinely don't know what the, here is our, I'm going to copy this down to here, but then I'm going to empty it like this, see? And then I'm going to take our add event visualizer and add it. You're going to make me break the prefab, which is fine. Unpack completely, and then prefab, unpack completely. I'm sorry that you can't see the menus. It takes away about 10% of what you're seeing on the screen, but it's also not the end of the world. So let's take the event visualizer and drag it down. Now there is truly a distinct chance that I just broke both of these interfaces. So I'm going to make this display, and what I want to do is I want to take this and I want to move it. Well, maybe not. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is turn this back off, and I have literally no idea what that just did. I don't know if the two are tied together. I can check. I could go through their screens and check their individual configs, or I could just copy, paste, and move crap and see what explodes, which, to be perfectly blunt, is my usual form of development. It goes in the order of see what explodes, then look at the settings, then read the FAQ, then look at the code, and then ask ChatGPT, because I can't figure any of that out, which is, in my opinion, one of the only moral uses of AI. It's as a learning and educational tool. Sure. Pause our music. Guess we're reloading in the tower. Now I could leave the music running if I just shut the tower music vent off. But I do so love the fact that I get to see a piece of code that I built in action. Just give it a moment. Alright, so escape to free up our cursor. It is turning it on and off. Oh, I know what I did. If I move this up. It is not. Interesting. I wonder if I shut the other canvas off. Oh, it is showing up. Why, pray tell, are they prioritized differently? If I take this canvas and I turn it on, and I take you, and I go into our scene view, and is it you? It is you. And I move this over. Now we're in play mode, and one of the things to know about Unity play mode is that if you're in play mode, you do not have to worry about it. Oh, there it is. So if I hit back, it did not hide the window. It did hide the window, and yet the window is still there. But if I hit it again, oh, I do like that. I like that a lot. Oh, how wonderful. Now I will change things like name and see how it's storing the day. What I would like is once we have the book rigged, I will circle back around and I will connect the date and time settings on the entry. I may completely hide. See how it's giving me the opportunity to choose the time? I may completely hide the event, because the goal of this is just to I am a banana. Event name, the banana day. Save. See? There we are. Oh good, it does have an edit function. So I thought to myself when I was looking through the plugins that I wanted to embed, which is the right one? Do I want to go with a system that does allow you to add and remove, or doesn't allow you to add and remove? And I opted in the end for the does allow you to edit. Now there will be a whole coding event series where I have to take the calendar and not only source it locally, but I'd like you to be able to back up the JSON file that's underneath it to be something that you can restore. So I'd like to put in the upper left-hand corner here a restore link, which will allow you to feed JSON to the game for the purpose of feeding the calendar system, but that is in our distant future. Home. What a lovely system. You can forward journal. You could also backwards journal, which means in this system, if I leave the calendar intact, if I didn't log on yesterday, but I wanted to keep, I just tapped the microphone. I want to keep the calendar intact, then I can go back in time and enter it. This is a game that's designed for personal benefit. It's not meant for anyone else, so I don't think I particularly care. Now what I am going to do is I am going to go into the map, and I am going to... Where exactly did I start to put? I see my sky dome and my seasons and my GUI and my main events. I see my game creator files where I will stick the event system because it can go in there and be fine. The question I have is, where did I place? Go back to our book, zoom out again to our... There it is. Where did I put you? Oh, it's in the buildings. Of course it's in the buildings. Perfect. I will turn that back on when I need it, which I do not now, and now I don't have to pause the music in between. I love this soundtrack. It's so very relaxing. I wrote this myself. It's 400 tracks. I haven't used it yet. It's meant for the puzzle levels inside a .toy store to another world. But I may actually use it for this game. I really like it. We'll see. See how development goes and how sick of it I am at the time. Alright, so we discovered that if I do indeed create the second canvas, I can put the add event visualizer into it. And now comes the question of any UI, which I do not use. I think I've only used it one time. So I have a canvas and a canvas, I'm assuming. And now what I want to do is I want to go to our arcane book, and into our armature, into our root, book all, book spine 2, book spine 3, book front, page 2, tip end, page 1. I'm going to bet dollars to donuts that it's actually these. I don't know how people function without shortcut tools. I don't know how people manage it. I see page 2 mid. Page 2 mid. One of those will turn out to be the right one. I think it's page 1. Let's zoom in just a little and see what happens when we select. Oh, last is centered. Interesting. Very interesting. All we care about is that page 2 last. And page 1 last. Alright, all we care about is that we bind it to the right bone. Something that non-Unity developers and non-modelers, and myself included, I'm 7 years now into this journey, and I have done what I always do with a tool, which is to say that I customize it over and over and over and over and over again. It took me 5 years to create the level of color and uniqueness and all the right windows and all the right tools in the way that I think I'm sure my user interface arrangement would drive another human being absolutely insane. But I like it very much. Unity and modeling tools leverage skeletons for anything that animates beyond simply moving the object. If you watch a lot of YouTubers play the Elder Scrolls games, you'll see a pretty constant thread of books getting flung off and objects getting flung off, but it's static when it moves. Static meaning it doesn't change. And static objects do not need a skeleton of any kind. But if you want to animate an object, you need a bone to which to tie the animation, which comes in keyframes. So think of it like a movie, an old movie, one frame at a time. You have to generate those frames for the movement, and those move bones. And the bones in this book consist of far more than normal animation. So you have the book, the inside cover, the semi-paper, and then the pages in this one. So it's got 5 central bones spread across, which you can see is a vast skeleton. For us to tie any UI to the right canvases, boom, boom, I will have to tie those to the correct bones, because UIs cannot by default be tied to a physical object. UIs sit on a canvas on the UI layer. So I have a tool which is called Any UI, which is right here, and I will need to grab, I see box sphere. I'm going to assume for our sake that we want the box. Now again, I have a magic trick installed. If I do Control Shift Alt and then click an object, that object will come to my cursor. Oh, hello friend. You are much, much larger than I thought you would be. You're also bright pink, which is a bad sign. I may have no choice but to learn on this one, for I've never done this before. It's got an import screen, which is launching, which you cannot see. Oh, it figured out the filter, because it turned it black. It used unlit transparent. Use camera, main camera, canvas to project UI box. So let's go with, I'm assuming that this object will need to go onto our bone. We decided on last as our first attempt. I'm going to color this and change its icon, because if I don't, I will lose it. And then we're going to make it orange, like so. Good. It's on last, which is wonderful. I will shrink it here in a moment. So, back to our UI box. Our camera is here, like so. Good, good. Use material. Going to leave that alone for the moment. Projection resolution is at 1K. That may be vastly too high for what we need. And then we're going to take our canvas, is there. Perfect. And we are going to shrink the ever-living joy out of this. And we're going to make it positioned in 0, 0, 0, 0. Never underestimate. Now, when it comes to moving objects, remember that the objects 0, 0, 0, the coordinates on which an object comes home, or whatever its parent is. So 0, 0, 0, if we have nothing, 0, 0, 0 on my project will center at the middle of our grid. So 0, 0, 0 for us comes out somewhere around F6. You sunk your battleship. But if the object is centered inside or parented to another object, meaning it is inside of another object, then that object will center around that. Now, what I don't know is oops, I see the logo. So we're going to assume that the developer of this software is brilliant. I am assuming that this is showing as a 3D object to be placed in space. I'm also assuming this could map to any surface if I wanted it to. But I don't want to mess with the textures. I will be completely fine to simply have it mapped to the object like so. And again, I have absolutely no idea if this is going to work. I want this as thin as it can possibly be. Another trick is that if you click something to turn or move it and then pull your mouse way, way out in a straight line, you ease the radius. Much finer points are required here as opposed to here. And I can always use the numbers if I have to manually adjust. All right, so now centered in our left page on the book right now is what we're hoping is an any.ui that is showing on play the canvas that we need for the first screen. So first thing we're going to do is that. Now what I don't know is I wonder if we need to source the UI outside. I have no idea what's about to happen with this tool. Not a clue. I have no idea if our user interface will appear both on screen. I don't know if the any UI will suppress any user interface it's physically showing on an object. I don't know if that's a toggle. This is brand new for me. Normally, I'm not brave enough to show these things on screen. I have a weakness for appearing that I know what I do at all times, but I feel like one of the benefits to this project and growing alongside the group as a whole is that I want the fan base to understand the sheer volume of preparation and work that goes into the building, designing, and engineering of a game. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that game development and design is the single least watched of all of the Steam categories, but I wanted there to be a historical collection of all of the work that I've done. It's a lot of work. And if in the meantime, this turns into an income stream, lucky me. I do so love this persona. I will be recording his voice and building it into a voice box for him. And I've just purchased the 3D character UI. Okay, so I see. All right, a couple of things. One, the NEUI canvas is not showing the canvas, so we're going to... I will bet you that there is a texture, a render texture required. Are you? You are. See how it's a render texture? So render textures are an interesting animal. In order to render a 2D thing on a 3D interface, one must create a render texture and a camera that only looks at that. So if I had to guess, we're going to need to copy both of these. Whoopsies. And then I'm going to go into creations and I'm going to go into create folder and we're going to call this NEUI. Oops. So you'll notice that that did not bind, that object did not bind appropriately to the bone that we needed it to. So I've erred and we're going to have to figure out where that lives, but that's not important for the moment. Okay, and we're going to go create folder 001 because I number everything. Any UI calendar main left page. And we're going to go into that folder and we're going to paste both of these. And now, outside of the screen's bounds, we will place these and we will place a camera over them. All right, so we're going to call this NEUI book left. We're going to do the same with this. All right. So we will need to set the texture to the material, like so. Done. And now we're going to need to make the render texture. Yes, I know. Dynamic scaling. This is always one of the things that I struggle with most. So we go back to 2D. Hello there. Why are you so large? Box is still showing quite large, even though it's down there. Why? Did I err and I should have? How interesting. You are here. I believe I'll need to I am perplexed. I am indeed perplexed. All right, let's look at NEUI and open its documentation, because I am not good at this particular step. I'm not good at this particular creation. Also, you don't have to be 10 pages large. This documentation contains the following. Quick and easy wizard to set up any mesh for any UI. All right. Oh my goodness. All right, run automatic setup. The automatic setup wizard can be found at Windows any UI. Of course it can. All right, we will delete what we just did, but not the canvas. Wait. All right, we'll start again. Let's not at the moment, let's just delete. All right, I want to look at our book. I want to look at the main page if it's within my power to do so. It's not. So let's create a quad at that bone. We failed for the pages, so page to end. I'm going to try here. 3D object quad. A quad is a pixelated screen that shows main calendar UI. So if you, like so, and then exactly what we did before. This has a micropixel interface on it, the quad does. And so if you're going to show a UI on top of a surface, this is absolutely the best way to do it. Shrink that just a little. Let's just start there, there's no need to get perfect. Okay. Window, any UI, set up any UI canvas. Any UI mesh to set up. Here's our mesh. Good. Give it a moment because it's thinking. I'm so intrigued by this system. All right. So I now have a test material in. We're right back where we were. So now the object is set up. Canvas, canvas to project. Canvas, calendar. Good. And then, but this material, this is where we needed our render texture. Yes. Yes. So, in order to make this work correctly, I need to have the canvas for the calendar moved outside of the bounds of the screen, so that even when displayed, you still will not see it. Why am I having difficulty with this? There it is. All right, so go away and canvas calendar. All right, so we're going to move this to the upper left, 0, 0, 0, and then we're going to pull it completely out of our viewpoint. So, where are my bounds? That's silly, you're being silly. Perfect, fine. Okay. So now we've pulled it up and outside of our view, so even when displaying, the main camera won't see it. There is another way to do this, where I could make it so that this screen does not render to the camera, or I can just remove it from the camera's focal point entirely. So we'll move this here, and we're going to do the same with this. That's odd. Why did it? How odd. Same thing. Pick it up, move it over, give it some space. All right, and now we're going to add a new camera. And so let's go to our main camera, which is here. Main shot, main camera. And we need to go to our render tags on this. Culling mask, cull. Let's create a new layer for ourselves. So we need to go to project settings and then layers, tags and layers, layers. I want to create a brand new tag. Hidden UI. And then hidden UI, like so. I do not know which of these to use, so we'll close that down. Now we're going to go to our canvas and we're going to go to our layer and we're going to select hidden UI. And we're going to go to our layer and we're going to select hidden UI. Yes, change the children. I would love if, can I do it through lighting? I can. I cannot see the screen and I need to be able to see the screen. All right. So now we've got our hidden UI layer. Now I need to create in our, you're all yes, inside of our journal system, create a camera. Why do I feel like I'm being silly? Oh, it's because I am too far up on the screen. So we're going to call this here. And we're going to here like so. Interesting, where is my camera preview, I wonder? All right, so now I want to make our camera's bounding boxes only match interesting. How big are you? Of course you are. All right, so I need this to be a target texture. There we are. Now we grab our target texture like so. And we look at our material, which is seeing our skybox, and we need to cull everything on this camera that isn't hidden UI. All I wanted to see is hidden UI. Likewise, back in our main camera, I need to go back to our culling layer, set it to everything, but then uncheck hidden UI. So now the camera shouldn't be able to see, the main camera shouldn't be able to see this, but the main texture should. Yes. So now if I go back to our main calendar here, and we go here, and we go here, like so. Canvas calendar, NUI material, canvas calendar, the material is using this. I have no idea what's about to happen. Not a clue. This is so central to the game. This is so central to the creation as a whole. I'm so very curious to see. The way that I'm selling the game through Steam, the calendar and its collecting sticker mechanics are the center of the game. Everything else will be extra, despite the fact that it's a massive undertaking. Give it a moment to load. I attempted the very first export of the game to get the first client going, and it absolutely exploded. Completely and totally exploded. I'll have to fix that later. Not now, though. And the verdict is... oh, I got it on the right bone, I think. Sort of. Excellent. So, I have a camera which is rendering. See how you can see the sky line? I have a camera which is rendering correctly, but it's not seeing the UI, and I'm going to assume that's because of positioning. So I'll bet you that if I go to this camera, this camera, and I change it to orthographic, and then I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to split our view, and I am going to go to that camera. I may not be able to. I cannot. So, that's all right. Good, and then let's go back to our scene and put this back like so. All right, so I find it incredibly strange that I am not seeing my reloading the UI. A moment, please. Interesting. Oh, it's because I'm in 2D. Silly boy. So my assumption is that my camera, which is all the way down here, right here. Where is it? There it is. And move it closer. What I don't have is the camera preview. Let's see. I'm going to take a break for a little while because my head is melting and I need to wake and feed the children. So I'm going to do that, and you can expect that I will be back in the near to come. So thank you very much for watching the stream.